welcome to ShowMeTheCurry.com. I'm Hital.
I'm Anuja, and today we're going to show you a basic garam masala. Now this is a recipe given to us by my mother, and it's one of those basic ones, so you can always add on things and subtract things to your needs. So here's what you'll need. 12 black cardamoms, 2 tablespoons coriander seeds, 1.5 tablespoons cloves, 1 teaspoon whole peppercorns, 4 teaspoons cumin seeds, 4-inch pieces of cinnamon sticks.
So for this basic garam masala, we have a pan, and you want to make sure you have a heavy bottom pan. That's important because it's important that everything roasts at a nice even temperature. And we're going to dry roast all of our ingredients. And we're going to be roasting these at a medium to low temperature, between medium and low.
Cloves, coriander seeds, whole peppercorns, cumin seeds, black cardamom, cinnamon sticks.
And we're going to continually stir this and make sure that we don't get tempted to increase the heat and get this done really fast, because we don't want the coatings to burn and then it not roasted inside. So nice and steady, and it takes a little bit of time, so have patience, and we're going to keep going.
So the cinnamon stick, we have actually broken it down. It was one of those big pieces, 2 of those big pieces actually. So, but we wanted to be able to roast quickly along with the rest of the items over there, and the rest of the seeds are smaller, so you want to break it up so that it all cooks at the same time and one doesn't get overcooked, etc. So that's one thing we wanted to mention. And the other thing is that now there's garam masalas. We are roasting it, and then we're going to allow it to cool down and then grind it. Now you can also do kacha garam masala, which is raw garam masala. You just take the same proportion and same seeds and everything and just grind it as is without roasting it. And when you do that, you have to put in your garam masala in your cooking, not at the end. So a lot of store-bought garam masalas are roasted and then sold. So that's why there's a lot of confusion. When do we put the garam masala? So if you bought the store-bought garam masala, or if you've done this, you can put it towards the end. But if you do the kacha garam masala, then you just have to put it along with your cooking and allow it to cook along with your other spices and your food. Yeah. So hopefully that clears up any doubts anybody has.
Right. So this is a fabulous recipe. It's Anuja's mom's, of course. But when we looked at the recipe, it's basically equal parts of everything except the black peppercorn, which is a quarter part. And you're always tempted to grab your measuring cup or measuring spoons and get equal portions of everything, but that's not a good way to do it. It's important to either weigh it, because each item has a different weight than the next. So it's not all by volume. I think either weigh it, or we've provided you with the actual volume measurement of these, so you can follow those.
So now we're going to cook this and keep roasting it. I'm going to make sure Hital stays here and does not move from here, and till it gets a wonderful aroma and a little bit of color. The coriander seeds will have a little color. I think that's the only thing that's going to show up.
Yeah. So the coriander seeds are looking nice and golden brown. And boy, am I getting the whiff of this. Clears up any sinuses you may have. So we'll turn off our stove and immediately remove this into another plate. And let it cool down completely before we start to grind.
So our whole spices have cooled down and they're good room temperature. So we're ready to grind. And over here we have a coffee grinder. Now this works wonderful. If you don't have one of those little kitchen gadgets for spices, this is the next best option. So just make sure you keep one just for spices. Don't mix up your one for the coffee.
Don't grind coffee in the masala one. But before we grind, here's an important thing. Our black cardamom, these big black cardamoms, they have this really tough shell on them, and even if we grind them, they don't grind well. So we have a mortar and pestle here. We're just going to remove the seeds from it. And the seeds are pretty easy to take out, and we can discard the shell.
All right, let's get to work. All right, this is done. Put it in this.
And depending on how big your coffee grinder is, you may have to do this grinding in separate batches. And if you do that, then make sure you put all the batches together once and mix it through with a spoon, just so that you don't get more of one item in one grind than the other. So, but it smells so good.
I know, and actually this is a good quantity. I was just thinking it's perfect if you were really into fresh spices and you're very particular about it. This is a good quantity. I think it'll last. Depending on how much you cook, of course. I think for me it'll probably last about a month, and for you for about 2 months.
Yeah.
So obviously you cook less than me. No, that's not true. It depends on how much you use garam masala.
Right.
So this is great. It inspires you to cook today. So
I'm going to be making something. I can't get over how good it smells, and oh wow, fresh spices are just awesome.
So. Right.
So to store this, just put it in an airtight bottle, make sure it's a tight fitting lid, and it'll stay fresh for a couple of months at least.
And also make sure it's dry.
Yes.
Very, very important. Because a lot of times we're in a big rush, we wash bottles and we don't wait for them to really, really dry before we add in. That's when things get spoiled and you get those little bugs and you don't want it. So anyway, thank you so much again, Mama, for another great recipe. I think we're going to be, saying that again and again, but sounds repetitive, but thanks again. And join us again in another episode of ShowMeTheCurry.com.
Adding a pinch of spice to your life.